so we've been in lockdown too. And I thought I would update you guys on the cock wars with my husband. So I obviously I talked about when I tried to buy the biscuits in lockdown 1, and then he found it, and it was, my whole plan was ruined. Very upset by this. Okay, so I've been waiting and biding my time till he least expects it to get him back again, because again it's just the back and forth. So for his birthday, which was recently, he wanted a Reese's peanut butter cupcake. So literally, it was just a gigantic Reese's peanut butter cup.
Incredible.
Like the size of a pie. So I know, it's actually really, I hate baking, hate it, and I don't do it. But it's actually really easy because you're really just sort of like melting some chocolate. And it's actually pretty easy. And you don't actually have to bake anything, which is amazing. So my daughter's helping me make it. And we're like getting to the end of this. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is the moment. So I was like, I'm going to have to draw a massive cock in this before it sets. You put it in the fridge and let the thing set. Obviously, my daughter is 6 years old. Not appropriate, okay? So I told her that why don't we draw a cactus? Like a little cactus on here. And we kind of made it like, it wasn't my finest moment as a mother. I know. So we did that, right? Okay, so then I take the foil, I'm covering up and I've got to put it in the fridge to set. And I was like, right, I'm going to leave it in there overnight. His birthday's the next day. I'll take it out in the morning. And then by the time we're going to eat it, it will have softened up a bit so it's not rock hard. Well, unfortunately, he had then in the night, or not in the night, but later in that evening, I didn't notice. He had not realized I had it in there. And he then set something on top of it, which then pushed the foil down all over the whole thing. And in doing so, it then set. There was no cock. It was like...
Oh, no.
I'm sorry you lost your penis.
I know, I lost my penis again. Again! The plan was foiled again, and I just...
Third time lucky, you'll get him.
I'm going to get him. It's going to happen one day.
Lockdown 3, you'll get him.
Oh, yeah, lockdown 3. That's my time.
Oh, actually, talking of penises, I saw the most horrific thing on, I think it was on Instagram. And I'm sorry for sending you cursed images that I find on the internet late at night, but it's more of a reflection on my mental state at the moment. I found this, it was an advent calendar, but it was like a thin piece of wood, upright, and it was in the shape of a big dick. And it had holes in it that you put Ferrero Rocher in it.
Oh my God.
And then the balls, you put 2 Terry's chocolate oranges.
I love it.
And I was like, oh my God. I think I found the one.
I wish you had informed me of that before the first, because that could have been a brilliant present for
next
I don't know if it is
Christmas.
I don't know whether it is a full advent calendar or whether it's just a novelty chocolate holder. But
I
it was
love
it was disgusting.
Well, I know what I'm searching for when we stop podcasting.
Your algorithm is going to be so fucked up.
I know. Damn it. It's like serial killers and dicks.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Murder Friends, the podcast where 3 friends from 3 different countries talk about murder. My name's Alana, and I'm Canadian.
I'm Anna, and I'm American.
My name's Hannah and I'm British.
So sit back and relax, you're among friends, and let's talk murder.
How's everyone doing with their Christmas prep?
Ugh. Christmas makes me so anxious. I have so many lists of ideas, and it's all separated in columns. I have things color-coded. I have dates on things because certain things need to be shipped to Canada by certain times, and Christmas makes me very anxious. And now, because Ken is in Tier 3, Tier 3 is kind of like a fake lockdown, really. You're not really supposed to be out. So I've been trying to get everything online. And unfortunately, because my partner and I live together, he doesn't listen to this, so I'm going to say it. I bought him a box of, it's like an assortment of different beers, and it comes from all different countries, and they're different types of beers, whatever. And I thought, oh, you know what? That sounds cool. We'll crack open this box. There's 15 different types of beers.
Ooh.
Cool.
Nice.
Merry Christmas. I ordered it. I didn't realize that they ship like next day. So the door rings, he answers it. He comes in carrying this giant box, and it says all over on the outside, like the company and the beer and everything. I was like, oh,
Great.
fuck. He's like, why did you get this? It's like, oh, I got it for myself. Like, I thought it would be fun. And you try to backpedal, but it's pretty obvious.
Oh, no.
So Christmas makes me anxious and paranoid, and I make too many lists. But most of my presents, I think, are almost done. It's tricky, though, when you can't, like, browse like you used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I've done all mine online, too, because basically, tier 3, we get to open the shops, really, but again, it's a fake lockdown. Like, it's really nothing. Like, okay, the shop's open, I think. Oh, actually, the gym's open. Thank goodness for my sanity. But other than that, you can't see anyone. You can't go to a pub or a restaurant. It's just not the same this year. But we have our packages sent to a friend's shop rather than our home address, just in case we're not in. So we have all of our packages like diverted there nearby. And today I went in to get something, and they were taking the piss out of me because now the mail guy started taking the piss out of me because he's brought so many deliveries for me in the last, like, I don't know, 4 weeks that he started to make, and then, so I just got roasted for it. And I'm like, it's not really fair because I sort of organize and order all of, like, Will's family's stuff, and he's got a big family. So I feel like it's not fair. I was judged unfairly.
I've been really organised this year. I made advent calendars for my family and, like, posted them all off at the end of November. And now I'm feeling very smug.
Wow.
I don't have to
You
do
look
anything
smug.
now. I'm just like the smuggest person you'll ever meet. I just got nothing else to do now. And then I had that, like, delightful phone call with my mother where she basically said none of you are coming for Christmas because she can't pick the bubble because she's got, like, 4 children. It's her own fault. And she was just like, well, none of you are coming then. And I was like, all right. I thought you were just going to pick your favourite. But so, yeah, no, I've got, like, nothing else to do now.
You're like, okay, great.
I did my Christmas food shop. I already ordered. It's coming in the end of December. It's going to be great.
Amazing. You are...
Wow.
Wow.
Someday I aspire to be like you.
That is good. You did a really good job with those, your advent calendars that you made. They're very cool.
Yeah, I crocheted little tiny, like, ornaments for each one. And obviously I've got, like, 3 siblings. And I did one for my parents as well. So that was like 100 ornaments.
Oh my god.
I had to put together. And, like, my wrist is making this disgusting crunching noise. It's like, I almost think that I might need to go and see someone about it.
Oh my god.
I'm hoping it'll be okay.
You're like, you better love these because I've got permanent carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel.
Now.
Well, it was 100% my
Merry
own fault.
fucking
I
Christmas.
started, yeah. Help me. I started in August because I was like, oh, I've got loads of time. So I did, like, a couple, and then I just completely put it to one side and just didn't do anything. And then at the beginning of October, I was like, oh shit, I should probably get onto that. And then again, didn't do anything for 2 weeks. So, like, the end of October, I was like, oh, I should probably crack on with that. And I did the majority of it in, like, 2.5 weeks. So it's my own fault.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just glad it's done though, at my house. Not my problem anymore.
I'm now, like, I'm nearing being done myself. Not far off. And I'm now just dreaming of all the Christmas cheese. That's getting me through this time at the moment.
Sorry, I went off into
I know.
the stream then. We were just like,
really quiet.
we all
I was
just
like,
zoned out then. We were all just like, ah.
Thinking about that cheese.
What foods are you guys looking forward to?
Mince pies.
Oh,
But
yeah.
That's just, I am who I am. We've already had this argument. I'm
We know
surprised
your
our
stance.
friendship lasted another year, to be honest. But
Anything but the mince pies, or the Christmas pudding, which is really
Yeah,
just
same.
a mince pie but in a different shape.
Same.
Since I
Oh,
don't-
bleh. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I feel like this is probably the time we should bring this up. This, this serious conversation that we need to have about celebrations in Quality Street.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Alana, you had put up a while ago on your socials.
Yes.
Bit controversial.
I don't know how it came about. I think, okay, so we had a Quality Street tin that I started getting into. And then I thought, I wonder, like, statistically, what's the most popular? So there's actually a YouGov chart that you can go look up, and we'll post it, I'm sure, somewhere.
Oh my god.
And
Wow.
it shows the breakdown of all of the Quality Street chocolates. So if you're not British, Quality Street is like a tin of individually wrapped chocolates, and they're all like different colors. So some people are like, oh, I love the green triangles, or I like, the blue whatever. And the chart I found on YouGov has them broken down to the most popular, least popular. And Anna then messages me that little did we know her favorite one is Satan's Own Choice, the coconut.
Oh my god.
which is the bottom of the tier, the worst one. Statistically, it is the worst one, but not to Anna.
It's literally my favorite one. Yeah, I know. I like coconut. Like, give me a Bounty.
It's
I love a Bounty.
yeah, so it's like a little tiny, like, chewy, coconutty thing, isn't it? Covered in chocolate. Like, tiny.
Heavenly.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I would also eat that.
Oh my god.
Because I am a 90-year-old woman, my favourite in...
I didn't catch that.
Oh,
Could
sorry.
you try again?
Shut up, Siri. I'm not talking to you, mate. My favourite in the Quality Street tin universe are the orange creams or the strawberry
gross.
creams.
Oh, those are like
I told
the second
you.
worst.
I told you I'm a 90-year-old woman. I like shit like that.
They're okay.
Alana's like tearing her hair out. She's gonna beat us.
Coconut, either Quality Street or Bounty, is dirt. Is just not good. Fruit flavored chocolate is also not good. Not as bad. Like anything orange, raspberry, strawberry, chocolate flavored. No.
No, I agree with you on that. It's disgusting.
I don't want a coconut. I don't want an orange chocolate. I don't want any sort of strawberry, raspberry business. I want a green triangle. I want something that has like crunchiness to it, maybe. Like a Ferrero Rocher is like probably top tier. You've got your chocolate, you've got different textures. That's my 2 cents. I will die on this hill.
What is the green triangle? Is like a praline, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a harder milk chocolate.
How do you say that, Elena?
Okay, well, we could say praline.
Okay, we say praline.
As a praline.
But I feel really self-conscious about saying praline, so I usually just don't say it.
You said the
Just
green
to
one.
avoid that in
So
regular
you just describe it.
conversations.
You describe it.
Can we agree though that the people who like toffee pennies are probably worse than all of us?
I'm just surprised that quality... Okay, here's another thing that's probably... I shouldn't say it loud, but I'm going to. Quality Street as a tin are all quite low quality.
Which is ironic, considering the name.
Quality Street.
There's a reason that none of them are sold individually. They're not like, at least Bounty, you could buy a Bounty because it's popular enough on its own. Quality Street is just kind of like a bit of just regularness.
Yeah. So the celebrations, right, are the ones that are like the named candy bar, brand
and
candy
heroes.
bars. The hero as a hero too. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
But Quality Street is just, you just know them by color. So like the pink round ones.
That's right.
Or
yeah.
the green rectangles.
I think the purple one is actually called the purple one. That is its
Shocking.
like official name.
So what is ranked the best one? Do you remember?
I probably should have looked at that before bringing this up.
You were blinded by my answer.
I was so shocked that Anna comes in out of nowhere with, I love the coconut one.
I actually bought a if you go on the Quality Street website, because I'm very sad, you can get a personalised tin. And I got a tin personalised.
I love it.
It's great.
Incredible.
You can put anything on it. I'm assuming you can't put swear words, but you could probably put anything on it.
I'm gonna try. Didn't you say you can also like get individualized like flavor ones. Like you
Yeah,
can get
you
all
can-
purple ones if you want.
You
or
can
whatever.
pick like what chocolates you want in them.
Wow.
So you could get an entire tin of coconut ones.
I was gonna say, I know what Lana's getting for Christmas. First likes coconut ones.
Okay, so I am doing true crime news this time, and we've had some pretty heavy episodes recently, so I thought I would try to find something that didn't have murder in it, although this will probably lead to deaths, but maybe it's a bit less grim. Anyway, there's been a really embarrassing story going around in Toronto lately, which I feel as a Canadian, it's my duty to bring this forward because even though it is embarrassing, it's pretty fucking ridiculous. So, police in Toronto have laid charges once again. This is not the first time. Police have laid charges once again after attending Adamson Barbecue, a restaurant in Etobicoke, which is like basically Toronto. They had been ordered to close after defying public health rules and allowing in-person dining despite the provincial lockdown order. So, I don't know why I can't say this name. Adamson Barbecue is getting charged like as a restaurant establishment because they keep opening. So people were eating indoors, people were eating outdoors. Basically, nobody had masks on and they were not spaced appropriately. And they were very well aware that they were not supposed to be open because they have already received charges previously for defying, the public health rules.
Jeez. They're just basically like not listening to the government. They're just like
They're basically
F
like,
you.
fuck you. Yeah.
I know.
So
God,
Toronto
that's
Police
terrible.
Superintendent Dom Sinopoli said at a news conference that owner Adam Skelly and the restaurant faces 9 charges, including violating indoor dining rules, holding an illegal gathering, and guess what? Operating a business without a license. In general, I don't think Adam is too concerned with laws or rules. So the police were asked, what are you going to do if Skelly decides to open tomorrow? And they basically just said, tomorrow is another day, and they're going to take enforcement actions based on what happens. So embarrassingly, there were crowds, which is so... I wish there wasn't, but there were. The restaurant closed around 1 p.m. after serving dozens of customers. Basically, Skelly, the guy, had a discussion with police and decided to close down. But there's crowds. There's crowds of customers gathered to eat inside while there were police. And there was like a rally outside of at least 100 people to basically show support and protest like lockdown orders and that kind of stuff. The article says that crowds outside the business were asked to leave, although many also left as it began raining. So sucks to be you.
I love that.
They say that nobody that was rallying was charged or fined. They're just like, can you please go home? Like, barbecue is not worth it. One day after this particular lockdown in Toronto came into effect, Skelly, the restaurant guy, vowed in an Instagram post that his establishment would remain open despite the new health measures that prohibit in-person dining at restaurants for at least 28 days. So obviously these lockdowns, it's the same as the UK. Canada is dealing with certain lockdowns as well, especially in the Toronto and Peel region. They're having the worst cases. And he's basically like, yeah, fuck you. Police are asking for a maximum fine of $100,000. But who knows if that will actually be paid or not. The other thing, what I thought was interesting with this, like obviously it's deeply embarrassing and it's wildly frustrating. But they also talked about how the city was not really satisfied with the initial police response. So the inspector police guy told reporters that due to the sheer amount of people inside the restaurant, police did not have the ability to go inside and remove anybody. So they're basically like, there's too many people. We can't go in there. It's not safe. We can't take people out. We can't remove anybody. But of course, then they say, ooh, maybe that was a bad call. We should have acted sooner. So there's a lot of it's like the police aren't really sure what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do, or they don't even really want to get involved. You don't really, do you really want to go into a crowded restaurant where people are eating without masks and try to remove people?
I think that's fair. If you're don't have enough people. And also I know that it was this issue here in the UK where the police were, it's a weird fine line between it being an authoritative state. I don't know, there's a name for it. I'm not, where people get their back up about it. Oh, you can't tell me, with freedoms and all that. And I don't know, it's a weird place for the police to be enforcing that. Yeah. I feel bad for them. It's not something you'd want to have to deal with.
Yeah, and also, do the police actually have capacity to do it? They still have their everyday jobs to do. And it kind of blurs that line between what is criminal and what is a civil offence.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were also talking about how, so Mayor John Tory's the mayor of Toronto. He was told about the restaurant, and he said that police were not satisfied with the initial response, blah, 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 blah. But then reporters are like, well, aren't you going to do anything? And he said, well, it's not appropriate for a politician to direct law enforcement. It's up to their department to determine charges and enforce the law. We can say this is the lockdown rules, but it's the police that are the ones that are laying charges. It's not the mayor. I'm not supposed to get involved in that way. We even had, we have a premier called Doug Ford. I don't know if you remember his brother, Rob Ford. Ford was the one that was snorting a lot of cocaine and seeing a lot of prostitutes. And he very sadly died. But his brother got elected as premier even after all that stuff, which is just hilarious in itself. And maybe that should be a true crime.
We need to keep this family, in politics.
Keep it going. So the other issue on top of all this stuff is that there's not a real clear line in terms of what is the policy. So during a news conference, Doug Ford said he was not going to, quote, start pounding on a small business owner when the guy's holding on by his fingernails. So that kind of seems like, well, we're not, we don't want to be too hard on small businesses. But then you have businesses that are openly defying the public health orders. So then he says, oh, no, you need to shut down. You're putting people's lives in jeopardy. This is how COVID spreads. Don't be ridiculous. But then on the other side of all that, the article, and I'll post the sources, they also talk about how a lot of small businesses, at least in Canada and Ontario, are upset because the big guys like Walmart are allowed to be open, but small businesses have to be closed. And so they're saying, I have creditors knocking on my door and I can't pay them because I'm forced to close. Obviously, restaurants like Skelly's should not be open, but we need better rules enabled for us to make some level of money because big guys like Walmart, my mom's going to Walmart to get groceries, but smaller places have to shut. So overall, it's deeply embarrassing. Thankfully, a lot of customers actually went on social media and was like, I go to this barbecue place all the time, but I'm actually really disgusted. I'm never going to go back. You're being extremely reckless. Being open during a lockdown is shocking. You could have done takeaway or takeout, but to open and to be so irresponsible, I'm never going to go back. So at least there's some level of Canadians who get it. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Not only do you have a restaurant that is publicly defying lockdown, but also the idea of, what do the police actually need to do and what do we need to do for small businesses? Because this is going to be around for quite a while.
Yeah, I think stuff like that's starting to happen everywhere because I think people are getting desperate now because it's gone on so long.
Yeah.
That, everyone's getting, obviously the guy's a dick, and he shouldn't he shouldn't be open and shouldn't be doing. You're right. He needs to find another way. But part of me like feels just bad for anyone who owns any sort of small business that has just been forced to close for months on end without, it's just, oh, it sucks. But yeah, it's like, come on, man. And also people you can see it here in the UK, like even when you're out in town or something, just doing some shopping. Like I think people are starting to like lose like the everyone, of course everyone's tired of it. We're all tired of it. Nobody's like happy to do it, but we've got to do it.
It's like pandemic fatigue, I think is
what there we go. I know. And I think people are just like, oh, well, obviously this is a conspiracy because like,
get into the 5G conspiracies.
I know.
Oh,
we don't. You know what? Where are those 5G people right now? Because I don't hear about them anymore.
Well, they attended all those rallies and got COVID. So yes.
Oh, okay.
Fingers crossed. Also, I want to know, how good is this barbecue?
Yeah, no. I kind of
by the looks of Adam, I would not trust him. And okay, there's other posts. This whole story, I swear to God, is so big for just a restaurant being open. People were posting like, why would you even bother going there? Because their health inspections suck. And so they're posting like images of them like failing certain parts of their health inspection. Like they've got mice, like that kind of shit.
Oh my God.
By all accounts, it doesn't seem like it's that great of a place. And also, please just stay home. Order takeaway, from your favorite local place. Support your local businesses where you can. But please do not be going into a restaurant to be eating right now. My God.
Okay, so today we're going to review a 7-part podcast called Canary, The Washington Post Investigates. Did you guys both listen to this?
Who wants to go first?
You can if you want.
No, just a yes or no would be fine.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you both did, right? Yeah.
All of it, yeah.
Awesome. Great. So what I'm going to do is I don't want to necessarily go into the whole thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of talk about the first episode and sort of go from there. So it's like I said, a 7-part podcast hosted by investigative reporter Amy Britton of the Washington Post. Now, the first episode of the podcast tells the story of Lauren Clark, a hairstylist in Washington, D.C. Lauren was out jogging in a local park. Okay, sorry, I just meant to say disclaimer. This does involve sexual abuse in it, so like if it's not for everyone, definitely, if that's something very triggering for you, do not listen. And this is a very heavy podcast, just disclaimer. So she was out jogging one day in a local park, and she was attacked and sexually assaulted by a stranger. So she was hit in the face as well as taken down. The stranger's name is Jairo Cruz, and he was a prominent local chef. So she was able to get away from him and scratch his face. He was actually arrested quite quickly, and as he had actually attacked another woman that day. He eventually confessed attacking 6 women in the D.C. area. We then sort of follow the story through the D.C. justice system, where prosecutors ultimately charged him only with misdemeanors, and the judge, who was Truman Morrison, sentenced him to 10 non-consecutive days in jail to fit around his work schedule.
Ugh.
I know. And 80 days in a halfway house and 5 years of very strict probation. So obviously, Lauren Clark was disappointed at that because this was a really violent attack, and she does describe it. It is awful, and it is really scary, especially because it is just a stranger. She's out jogging, and someone, hits her, attacks her, just out of the blue. And you always kind of hear, like, the scary part is like, whenever we listen to a lot of these serial killer stories, it's just kind of one of those things that that people start with and then progress, and it's really frightening. So after his conviction, Clark began to see Cruz around town, and he also gained a job in a well-regarded restaurant in the D.C. area, so his career started to progress even further, and that restaurant was a block from her apartment. So Clark continued to follow Cruz's probation and found out that he was moved off of supervised probation after 4 years, but without an explanation. Apparently his probation had been mishandled, and he'd never been sort of supervised properly at all. When this mistake was discovered, the judge decided that there was no use in going backwards and sort of commended him on doing well so far, apparently, like with sticking with this job and everything like that. So Clark is like, no, I'm not having it. She says she decides she's going to fight back, and she notifies the restaurant he worked at of the assaults and starts passing out flyers around the neighborhood, bars, restaurants, everything. Like, she wants people to know what this man has done, because it seemingly he's been able to attack 6 women that they know of and get away pretty scot-free. Not even his reputation wasn't ruined or anything with work, nothing. He's actually progressed in his field. So Amy Britton investigated this story and wrote an article, and it was obviously the name of the judge who I mentioned earlier, Truman Morrison, that was featured in the article. And obviously there is a bit more to it. I'm just going to kind of like brush through it. It's really worth a listen. Even if you only listen to that first episode, it's kind of an entirely different story to what the whole podcast really centers around, which is really interesting. So she investigates the story, and the article went out in the Washington Post, and I'm sure you both have seen plenty of articles by the Washington Post. It is an American newspaper, but I mean, you tend to see they do quite a lot. Really good newspaper. So after this article came out, this is when Carol Griffin from Birmingham, Alabama, reads the story and contacts Britton by email, and so she has information about the judge in the case. And it's a bit of a bombshell sort of at the end of the first episode that he sexually assaulted her when she was 16 years old and several other times in her life thereafter. This is when sort of the podcast takes a bit of a turn, and Britton starts to investigate her allegations against the judge. And in the next 5 to 6 episodes is really more about that and Griffin's story and her lifelong difficulties coming to terms with the sexual assault that's haunted her for her entire life. It shows the repercussions on coming forward with the allegations, just for her own life and her family and her parents. And in the final episode, Clark and Griffin meet and are able to share their stories and how their stories had helped each other in coming to terms with their own assaults and moving forward in their lives. That's sort of a brief overview of this podcast. And I have to say, it is a very heavy podcast. It was absolutely, it was very, very good. It was so well done. In my opinion, Amy Britton did an amazing job of telling this story in a way that, where it's almost like it wasn't opinionated. Like, she didn't latch onto these allegations and say, right, I'm going to go after him. I'm going to go after this judge. It wasn't that at all. It was far more about, I thought she did a really good job of like, investigating, doing a well-rounded sort of investigation with his friends and his family. She reached out to him, and she did speak to him several times by email. It's like she did a really good job of literally kind of standing back and letting the story almost kind of tell itself in a way. And I had to say, I think I cried like 3 times listening to this podcast, at least 3. It was just a very raw, like, I don't know. I'm losing. I don't even know what to say about it. You guys, what are your opinions?
I thought it was incredible. Anna, you had brought this podcast up as like a potential that we could listen to. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to listen to a sexual assault story for 7 episodes. Like, Christ almighty. But you listen to that first one, and I remember I was like doing the dishes or whatever, and it comes out, well, actually the judge in that case sexually assaulted me. And I was just like, holy shit, what the fuck? And then at that point, you're just kind of, at least I was very much hooked on it. And like you say, the journalist does such a good job at just telling the story. She doesn't really dramatize anything. She doesn't exploit really anything. It's just, this is what they said. And I really like that she talks about how, so here's the allegation that this judge allegedly assaulted this woman. So she talks about, well, this is what we have to do, and we need to find evidence of her telling the story to other people. We need to find maybe physical evidence like letters or photographs. We need to talk to everybody in that circle. So it was very much like an investigative, unbiased sort of look at that story, which I really appreciated. But yeah, I remember I was sitting on the couch doing like mindless work so I could listen, and I just started crying, like full like tears crying, not just like, the back of the throat kind of thing. It was like a full-on cry. It was so well done. And one of my favorites this year, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. It was I think it was that first sort of story, like Lauren's story. It's genuinely horrifying. And it's almost something that I think every woman I know fears. You know, you're walking home or you're out doing something, you're minding your own business and you're just like brutally attacked, like unprovoked, like sickening attack. And then to have so little justice for it, it's mind-boggling. And I always feel like it's a normalized fear. I feel like a lot of women are like, and if I've spoken to them before, and I've discussed like walking home in the dark with like my house keys tucked between my knuckles, and you hear that voice next to you going, "Oh, I do that," and it's like it's not fucking normal. Like it's the most unnatural thing to do. But it was fantastic. I sobbed. I literally like tore my headphones out and cried at one point. I think it was when Amy Britton was explaining to Lauren,
yes,
that the judge who failed her had these allegations of sexual assault himself from Carol, and like you hear that sort of absolute like crashing wave of emotion come out of Lauren, and it's just like that, like those like deep inhales of breath, and she cries, and it's just like, holy fuck. It was so visceral, it was gut-wrenching, it was really moving, but it was handled so beautifully, and it was sort of done so delicately by Amy Britton. It was just well articulated, really powerful and exceptionally respectful. 10 out of 10.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was everything both of you said, I completely agree with. And I think we all three kind of had the same experience listening to this, just how moving it was and how, I just can't, it's part of it. I guess this story happens all the time, unfortunately. Both of those stories would happen, especially, I would say, Carol Griffin's story. But just the way it was told and the way that even how it affected her entire life was shaped around this. And it was just even down to listening to her parents talk. And there, and just the judge was actually, one of their best friends. Oh, and when the mother flew to D.C. to confront, when Carol finally reveals this assault to her mother, she was 30. At the time now, she's 60, I believe. And, so it wasn't until she was 30 that she told her parents finally. And her mother flew to D.C., got off a plane, had him meet her there, and confronted him in person because she wanted to see his face when she said, just all of it. It was very good. Yes, so I said, we're going to rate this 10 out of 10. Definitely one of the best of the year. Very good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I almost feel like it kind of went past entertainment. Like we listen to podcasts a lot for entertainment. It went past that like entertainment barrier and went into just like pure storytelling. 10 out of 10.
100%. Yeah, it's not it was pure storytelling, I think.
It's definitely not like a light listen either, but no. It was so good.
It was very good. And it was similar. It reminded me a lot of of S-Town and The Ballad of Billy Balls, where it stops becoming about entertainment and more about storytelling and like raw human emotion that you feel that you felt. Both of those podcasts I felt something listening to them. It literally, I reacted to it, and that is definitely what's happened with this one as well. So if everyone check it out, like I said, we've all said it's heavy, but it is just so well done.
Weird Crime Time.
So sometimes I struggle to find a good weird crime time, and then I remember that I should check the Oracle, which is Kent Online. It's regional news for Kent. Journalism.
Kent Online.
You know it. I think anyone's like regional news outlet, like Kent Online. I don't know what other ones are called. I think there's one in Devon called Devon Live, but that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I find the journalism just exquisite. I find it fantastic. So from Kent Online, we have road signs described Kent as toilet of England in protest by anti-Brexit group EU flag mafia. So
what?
Is it? As I said, the journalism is so good that they're like.
You also get inundated with like 40 ads just on one page.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, 10 ways to lose body fat. Yeah. The one. So the story is this. So concerned of the effects that Brexit will have on Kent, i.e. Kent being turned into a lorry park with portaloos everywhere, quote, dogging parks, litter, the anti-Brexit group arranged a, quote, military operation to relabel all of the signs along the Kent border, close quote. So if you've ever driven into Kent, you'll know that there are signs that say, welcome to Kent. Then underneath it says, the Garden of England. These signs have been defaced by placing the word toilet over the word England, over the word garden, sorry. So then now they read, the toilet of England. Around 26 of these signs have been altered. The group organised the change of signs under code name Operation Pisspot. So it is a real concern, like I get that, but the thing that concerned me the most about this whole story was the fact that they couldn't get the font size right for a lot of the signs. Some of them look about right, some of them the font was just too big, the spacing was weird, and some of them had like weird capitalization. Like, come on, if you're going to organise a whole sign changing strategy, get it right. So welcome to Kent, the toilet of England.
It's hilarious.
It's just so
Oh my god.
childish.
How
I know.
petty, eh? Like he's
It's so petty. I would have like done something more creative with like Kent, like with the E in Kent and made it like a U, or I don't know. We could have done something more creative.
Exactly. There were so many other options.
Yeah,
But,
the
I
toilet.
find like defaced road signs and defaced like street like name signs possibly one of the funniest things.
or like when there's a special sign that always gets stolen because it has a funny name on it and they have to keep replacing it.
Yeah. I love those. When they put like the trackers in the back. Yeah.
I'm gonna confess, this was I don't know, like 20 years ago now or something. Maybe not that many. I stole a road sign, like with like my friends. We stole a few. We were like on a rampage of sign stealing. I'm sure I can confess that now. I mean, don't think I'll get in trouble for it now, but yeah, we did that. It was before sort of like everyone had a cell phone or a mobile phone, and we stole the sign. But then my boyfriend at the time, his truck battery like died. So we were stuck there. And we ended up having to like go and knock on somebody's door at night to try to like use the phone to call to get help there.
Oh my god.
But we had the sign, like we had all the stuff, and basically we were stuck there. Yeah. Anyway, youth. Well, I think that's all we have for today. Check out our website, murderfriends.com. You can email us, murderfriendspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, murderfriendspd, and Instagram, murderfriendspod. And we'll see you next time. Bye.